Hello and welcome back to Goblin Gaming. We're here today in Diablo 4 and I'm going to be going over a Blue Rose Blizzard Shatter Frozen Orb build. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but I really like it. It's a lot of fun, so let's go ahead and have a look at it. This is what I am going to be pushing the Avatar of Zir with. After I have gotten the Scent of Blood and I've played around with it a little bit, I will make an update guide, but until then, this is kind of how I'm going to run it. So let's start off with the skill tree first. Then we'll look at gear, and then we'll look at Paragon. 2 points into Firebolt. You want to put them both into Firebolt as that does affect the enchantment damage that applies on the dot. It's a little thing, but it does add up over time, so both points go into Firebolt itself. Don't spread it onto the Enhance, just put it right there. We're going to put 1 point into Frozen Orb, 1 point into Enhanced Orb, and then 1 point into Destructive Orb to get us mana back. We're going to take the double detonating Frozen Orb affix aspect thing so that we get 15 mana per Frozen Orb. These Frozen Orbs are going to auto cast. This is our other enchantment, so we're taking Firebolt and Frozen Orb for our enchantments. We're going to take 2 points into Potent Warding. And then in a shocking twist, we're actually not going to take Devastation or Elemental Dominance because I tested it with the training dummies and it does not appear to affect the Ice Spike damage, and that is the large majority of the damage with this build. So I saved the points here to put them into other more useful things. I'm going to put a point into Flame Shield, a point into Enhanced Flame Shield to give us a little bit of movement speed, and into Mystical Flame Shield to give us mana cost reduction. Teleport on over to Shimmering for the damage reduction, and then we're going to take Ice Armor on over to Mystical Ice Armor so that the damage that we deal while Ice Armor is active increases our barrier, and we're also again having more mana regeneration while we have Ice Armor barrier active. We're going to take 3 points into Glass Cannon to get more damage multiplier, and then 1 point into Elemental Attunement for a chance to reset our defensive cooldown on Lucky Hit. Moving down into Conjuration, we're going to be taking Ice Blaze over into Summoned Ice Blaze to give the cooldown reduction each time the Ice Blaze hits to our other cooldowns, just to keep things flowing a little bit better. We're going to take 3 points into Precision Magic for the Lucky Hit chance, as that is the main mana generation engine of the build. And then we're going to take 1 point into Align the Elements for a little bit less damage taken from elites when we first encounter them, but more importantly to unlock Mana Shield, so each time we use a cooldown we're going to be gaining, Protection, so each time we use a cooldown we're going to be gaining Barrier, and into Mana Shield so that every time we spend 100 mana, which we will be doing constantly, we're going to be gaining 21% damage reduction. Taking 1 point in Icy Veil to unlock the ability to put points into Cold Front. This makes it so that while we have Barrier active, we apply Chill quicker. This is very important for this build because we want to be freezing things as quickly as possible. Given this, there is an argument to be made for dropping the extra Frozen Orb explosions and instead grabbing the Ice Armor, gives your Ice Spikes Chill and spawns Ice Spikes aspect. Could be good too, but right now I'm just going with the mana regeneration of the double detonating Frozen Orb. We're going to take Blizzard up into Wizard's Blizzard. Actually, we're going to be taking Mage's Blizzard. I had that in the wrong spot. Oopsie. The gameplay footage you're watching could be even better. Basically what this does is it increases the duration by 4 seconds on your Blizzard. It just adds a bunch more damage over time, and this is definitely what I should have had active in that gameplay footage. Whoopsie. Oh well. Make sure you do that. Put 1 point into Inner Flames and then 3 into Devouring Blaze so we get crit damage multiplier. And then we're going to move down into our ultimate section. We're going to take Deep Freeze up through Supreme Deep Freeze so that we can reset our cooldowns with Deep Freeze and just for that little bit extra burst damage and stagger on bosses. And then we're going to be taking Permafrost so that our frost skills deal increased damage versus elites. We're going to put 1 point into Icy Touch just for a little bit of damage multiplier, 3 into Hoarfrost for more damage multiplier, and 3 into Frigid Breeze for a chance to generate mana on Lucky Hit. You could also take this 1 point into Icy Touch and move it down into Fiery Surge and get 3 points into Fiery Surge if you want instead of 2. I just have it spread out this way, but do it however you wish. Fiery Surge is going to give us mana regen whenever we kill burning enemies, and since our Firebolt enchantment will be on, we'll be burning everything with our ice, because reasons. We're going to be taking Shatter as our capstone so that when we deal damage to frozen enemies after the freeze expires, they explode for 25% of the damage you dealt. This does apply when they die as well, so basically you get chain reaction explosions from frozen enemies and it just cascades to just crazy amounts of damage. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at the items that we're going to be using in this build. Ever Living is going to be what we're using on our helmet. We want to be grabbing total armor, ideally max life, cooldown reduction, and lucky hit with barrier. Unfortunately here I have barrier generation instead, but eventually I'll find the perfect helmet. On the chest you want max life, you want total armor percent, but I don't have it here, and then you want damage reduction just in general. Total armor percent is actually super duper important, and I'm a bit squishier because I don't have it. We want to be grabbing Conceited as our aspect on our gloves, and then on the stat side we want Intelligence, Crit Strike chance, and Lucky Hit chance. The Force stat is up to your choice. Whatever you want there. Attack speed's fine, Ranks of Frozen Orb is fine, however you want to build that last stat is fine. Pants, we're going to be taking T-Bolt's Will so that we get a damage multiplier when we go unstoppable and regenerate some mana. And then on boots, we're going to be taking Essu's Heirloom so that we get more crit chance and more movement speed. On our weapon, we're going to grab Frozen Orbit so that our Frozen Orb stays in place and detonates an additional 2 times, making it so that each free Frozen Orb that we get that just naturally generates from Blizzard is going to give us 15 mana back, which is just glorious. On our other weapon, we're going to be taking Frozen Tundra so that our Deep Freeze is also going to be forming ice spikes, but more importantly, so that our ice spikes have 50% increased explosion radius. On our amulet, we're going to be taking Glacial. This is the main crux of the damage of the build. This makes it so that our blizzards spawn ice spikes. This does just a ton of damage, and you want to get the highest eye level extraction on this as you can. This was a 925 Glacial aspect that is imprinted here, so this is the highest damage you can get on it. Then we're going to be taking Blue Rose for more ice spike damage as a just standard affix on the ring, as well as for the 30% lucky hit chance to form ice spikes on everything we do, which actually does quite a bit, especially because Metamorphosis has a 100% lucky hit chance. So in reality, every time you metamorphosis through things, you have a 30% chance to form an ice spike, and it seems to happen very, 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 very often, to a point where you can freeze an enemy, a group of enemies, and then dash through them and spawn a bunch of extra ice spikes and just blow them up. It's actually super duper fun. Talrash's is going to give us a 45% damage multiplier because we're doing fire, lightning, ice, and poison via a vampiric power. Now, one thing you could do if you want more toughness and a little bit less damage is instead of putting Glacial on the necklace, you could put Glacial on the weapon. You could drop the Frozen Orb, and then you could put another aspect for defense on the amulet. If you're going to go with that loadout, I would recommend putting Disobedience on the amulet, and then you would do Ever Living, and probably the one that gives you damage reduction when you are in or when you leave Blizzard, because that's like super duper strong. That would actually make you very, very, very tanky. Also, if you happen to get like a Melted Heart of Selig, you could do that and run a low health damage reduction build, and then just do the Glacial on your weapon. But Glacial is the crux of the build, so make sure you have that no matter what. I put it on the amulet for a more offensive aspect focus version, but you could certainly go more defensive. Okay, on to vampiric powers. We're going to take Metamorphosis, so each time we dodge roll, we're going to become unstoppable, generate mana, and get a 40x damage multiplier, as well as deal damage and proc lucky hit chance to get ice spikes. Very, very valuable. Infection's going to give us just a little bit of damage, but more importantly give us a poison application, which is going to give us another 15x multiplier via Talrash's. Accursed Touch is going to be giving us the ability to apply Vampiric Curse to everything all the time, so that our Prey on the Weak will make everything vulnerable all the time. Now presently, apparently the damage multiplier on this is bugged, so once they fix that, this will get even better, but it is currently bugged. We're mostly taking it so that we can have screen-wide vulnerable applications, since we don't have another way that we're applying vulnerable with this build. And then we're going to take Sanguine's Brace so that we can generate Fortify, a little bit of extra toughness as we're running around, and 8% critical. When you get to the boss, you can feel free to take this off and put Domination on to get that little bit of extra burst damage when you get the stagger, but don't forget to put the Sanguine's Brace back on as you're running through the dungeons, because it just adds a lot of extra clear time and a lot of extra toughness if you're pushing. So, alrighty, let's go ahead and take a look at the Paragon now. I'm going to actually go ahead and minimize out the gameplay footage. It should have looped through at least once already, so... Oh, we're on the Cursed Shrine part. That was actually really fun. I was doing a lot of dashing through enemies and killing them. Anywho, let's go ahead and look at Paragon board. Alright, so on our Paragon board, in our first starter board, we're going to want to be grabbing Destruction. This is probably going to change around once we have Taste for Blood, but we're going to grab Destruction here to get a crit damage multiplier. We're going to want to make sure we're picking up the Elementalist node as well as the Resilience node. Grab Elemental Balance and Erudite as well. Moving up into the next board is going to be the Burning Instinct board. We're literally just coming here so we can get an extra glyph into the build. We're going to beeline over, throw in Control. Just get the minimum needed to activate it, because we don't get a ton of extra damage from getting a bunch of extra points into it. I mean, I guess it is additive damage, so it's okay, but we're really point starved on the setup at the moment, so this is how I'm doing it. When I rework it for Taste of Blood, I might change that a little bit. But yeah, Control is going to give us a big damage multiplier. Then we're going to move up and over onto the next board. We're going to be grabbing Advantage for that lucky hit chance, as well as the blue nodes around it for more lucky hit chance. Moving over to grab Frigid Fate, which is going to give us a nice damage multiplier. Currently I'm getting 25x. You can get up to 30x depending on your bonus cold % increase. Then we're going to move over, and for our glyph on this slot, we're going to be grabbing Stalagmite, and we're going to take every single point of intellect we can on this. Getting the full 70 is going to give us a big damage multiplier for our Ice Spike. I currently only have it at level 19, so it does go higher than this, but it is a significant damage increase. I didn't think it would be that much, but it really, really, really is. So make sure you don't sleep on that. Moving up into the next board, we're going to be moving up here to the Icefall board. We're going to, of course, want to grab Icefall, moving through Polar Rime as we do to get some extra damage versus chilled enemies and some extra non-physical damage. Keeper Winter is going to give us some damage reduction, and why not? It's on the way to our next board. Grab Icefall. We're going to pop up here and grab extra chill application with Cryomancy. Actually super duper 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 important for the build. And then we're going to pop over here for Glyph, and we're going to grab Reinforced for a little bit of extra toughness. And then the 125% rare nodes on this particular one is going to give us extra damage reduction from Chilled. So in reality, this Reinforced is actually giving us a 30% damage reduction while we have Barrier. Or 30% damage reduction because we'll have Barrier most of the time, and then everything will always be Chilled. We're also getting extra damage to Chilled enemies. Yay! Moving over into the next board, we're going to be grabbing Enchantment Master for 20% stronger enchantments. Grabbing these yellow nodes for Elementalist, Suffused Resilience, Ruinous, and then of course the two on the glyph spot as well. And then for the actual glyph that we're going to be grabbing is going to be the Elementalist glyph. This is going to give us another nice 15% damage multiplier. Again, I'll probably rework this once I have my Taste for Blood glyph, but this is the current layout. I will make a Mobalytics layout for this as well and put it in the video description, just like I did on the last video. Hopefully you guys do enjoy this. Hopefully this helps you out. This is what I'm going to be pushing with in the Abattoir of Zir to start off. I think it's going to be quite strong and should be pretty fun. Even if you don't get the Blue Rose, this build is still runnable. Just throw on X-Falls Corroded Signet here. It'll do a lot of damage as well. Or, I mean, if you wanted to, you could throw on like Prodigy Band. Get a just random yellow or generic legendary ring and put Prodigy Aspect on it for more mana generation. That's another option. Or you can grab another offensive aspect here. Just because you haven't found Blue Rose doesn't mean you can't do this build. So, anyway, thanks for being here, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and see ya later. I'll be pushing and streaming Avatar when it comes out.